Hi, and welcome to Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. My name is Sue Jansen. I'm so glad you joined us today. And this is a podcast where I have amazing guests, and my focus is to uh, focus a light and like a positive shine a light on supporting parents, caregivers, and service providers of children, and also of adults with adaptive needs, and just aiming to bridge those barriers that they face each and every day. So I am excited today because I have a guest on. His name is Paul, and his Paul Brown. So it's an easy one to not mess up. Paul is on a mission to bring reliable water to billions of people on this earth. He frees up his time and funds his part in this work through a small yet effective real estate portfolio in Memphis. Like, I'm a realtor up here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I really want to hear about this. So this business pushed him to find all kinds of financing. And in the past 3 years, he's helped other entrepreneurs from historically marginalized communities secure over $3 million in funding. So this father of three is a U.S. Army veteran, and he enjoys hearing people's stories and traveling and gardening too. So Paul Brown, a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for coming on today. I want to hear all about what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Susan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit more about you than what I said, so the audience kind of has a nice feel, and then tell me more about your project. I really want to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my life purpose is helping people get their own water, and that major life purpose has driven everything else I've done. So the for-profit business, as you mentioned, is Creative Real Estate, and I'm coming at you from the Memphis, Tennessee area, North Mississippi. We're snowed in today, but it's all good.
Ooh, you guys don't
And
get to go very often.
we don't, but here lately it seems like it's been once or twice a year. So it's welcome. And me and my 10 to 11 roommates are snowed in. And so that's one of the ways that my operations manager and I make money is we rent rooms by the week by the door. So we look for bigger houses and that's a lot of people in one house, but it works and we keep it peaceful and quiet and
Oh,
it's
nice.
served us well.
Awesome. And so tell me about the real estate. How does that fit in? Yeah. Is that what you mean? Like, when you say real estate, are you talking about, like, you know, revenue properties? Is that what you're talking?
That's That's right. So we have a few properties, about six or seven, and most of them are furnished rentals. And like I just mentioned, the quality rooming house model, and that for-profit business has freed up my time so I can go and do what I really want to do, which is train folks mainly on the African continent on how to get their own water, how to drill their own water wells.
Wow. Well, I do know a little bit about that because I belong to a group. I'm up in Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, and we have a Mennonite Central Committee who actually they have um, volunteers that go up there on a regular basis to dig wells and on that. I don't know if that's affiliated with you and your project, but it's similar. So I'm a little bit aware of what goes on in that respect. So
So do they go and drill those wells for the Mennonites in that community, or is it the Mennonites that are digging the wells?
the Mennonites are going up and bringing up the people and digging the wells. Yes, and they stay up for
Okay.
about a month or two, I think, and then we have different groups go up at different times of year. So we get a lot of reports back. So I haven't personally been involved, but I get a lot of reports about that, and that's
That
really amazing.
that's interesting. I attend a small Mennonite church here locally, and um, that's not who I work with to do the water well.
Oh,
I've been working with 1 million wells, and now we've got our own nonprofit organization. But some of the philosophy of serving others has come from that group and groups like them.
yes, yeah, we do a lot of that great stuff out there. So I'm so happy to hear that you're involved in that. So tell me a little bit more then about the water. Like, how does that project work? Like, how are you involved in that, and how does it go?
Certainly, with helping folks get water, at first it was just me reading books and learning about the need, and then I started giving. And when I went to my first real estate investor seminar in about 10 years ago in the Orlando area. While the people were speaking about creative real estate and buying, they were selling their programs and such, I just heard a voice that said, "Hey, you're going to fix this water problem in this generation."
Wow.
And if you've ever had four thoughts in a split second, well, I did. And one of them was kind of a disbelief because I didn't and still don't necessarily have the network or net worth to do something like that. But it was also just an acceptance of, well, if this is the calling, then I'm just going to say yes, and the resources will come, which is what's happened. So about 4 years later, I left that real estate seminar, and I built a much better real estate business than I would have, because I had the pressure of, well, if I don't do what I'm called to do, a billion of my best friends might die or get sick because they don't have the water.
Yeah. And you don't say no to the boss. I mean, you don't say no.
That's right.
I mean,
Well, the caller has to provide. If
100%.
if I'm called to do something, then I then I trust that the resources will come, and that's what's happened. So
Yeah.
about 4 years. No, go ahead,
Oh,
Susan.
good. No, I was just saying that's perfect. Yes. Good.
Yeah, so about 4 years later, I was in my commercial banker's office, and this other client of his walked in, and my banker said, "Hey, Jim," this is the name of the guy that walked in. "I want you to meet Paul. Paul's life purpose is getting water to those that need it. Y'all should talk." And Jim, this fellow that walked in, said, "Well, buddy, I run 1 million wells and we do just that. You should come work with us." And so
See?
I connected with them, and I went with their organization. Well, first I trained with them in rural Tennessee and learned the method. And we use reverse flow water wells, which are much more sustainable and also easier to drill, and they last longer. But I finally, after a case of sciatic outbreak, where I
Oh
was
no.
living on my friend's living room floor, laying on my stomach for 6 weeks, when I finally got over that and the pandemic, I went with them to Uganda and Malawi
Mhm.
and further learn the method and train folks there. And when we say train, we focus on training because anytime you're drilling a water well, there's no guarantee that you're going to get water and have a good well until you do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much prep you do, you don't know it till you get it.
Okay.
And but when we focus on the training, it makes it to where they're empowered and equipped to go and do it again and maintain and drill as many wells as they want to, with or without us. So,
Right.
but we focus on the training so we can do it with them, so they won't need us, so we're not creating dependencies or disrupting economies. And it was a life changing experience. And a few months later, they sent me to India to set up. We already had an established local team there, but to put them in a different geography and help them get a second team. And so that was a success as well. But it's just been a blessing. And when you help not only get somebody water, but help them get their own water, there's nothing like it.
And teach them how to maintain that when you're gone.
That's right.
Right. Tell me about India. I don't think I've ever heard about water wells in India.
Yeah,
Am I
there's a
out?
there's a huge
Am I out to lunch? Or I don't know why that doesn't ring a bell for me. Tell me more about that.
well, India's huge. It's densely populated and it's diverse. So I mean, there's places in India that um, look better than here. There's places in India where they're just destitute as far as poverty goes,
Yeah.
and there's plenty of places, yeah, that
Wow.
still need water wells. Many of the water wells that the local team has installed in India were used more for farming than they were for, say, to put water in a village.
Okay.
And that's just as important, because I don't remember if it's 17x or 23x, but it's some high multiplier of, you can get, 17 times more crops or 23 times more crops when you have the irrigation than when you don't. So helping people get water is not just about water, it's about getting them more food. It saves
Well,
their time,
yeah.
so
I
they're
mean,
not wasting their time walking around. Right.
water's what we're running short here. I mean, I'm in Canada, and that's like there. I'm hearing talk about that one, like the shortage. Like there's an intimate shortage.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard out west in America as well. I do have some concerns about how water will be treated or owned or um, held in a stingy manner in the future. So let's pray and we'll see.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want that to happen, but at least there is talk. I mean, at least an awareness has to be, be out there first, so then people actually take action. So,
That's right.
yeah. So what are you doing like right now? What's exciting for you that's happening that you're embarking on like right now? Anything new or new trips or what's going on?
Yeah, here's what I'm really excited about right now. So at the end of April, I plan to start a walk. I'm starting a walk across the African continent. That will be 12 to 15 countries that we'll walk through. It'll take about a year and a half, give or take a few
Wow,
months.
that's big.
And
No, I don't want. I
yeah,
don't want that one of your little jogs. I want to hear about your big one. It's like, oh my god, it's like, okay, that's more than I expected. So this is great. So tell me way more about that.
yeah, this is the biggest thing I've ever done, and quite frankly, I'm a little overwhelmed because the prep for it is even more intense than actually walking the continent. So so I'm doing what I can, and I'm going on podcasts, and I'm going to events, building relationships, standing up websites and social media assets, and uh, figuring out how to fundraise, which I've got very little experience with. So it is what it is. But I'm really excited about it because I will see and show people and help them connect with the real Africa,
Wow.
and really be there with the people in places I would never be if I was in a vehicle. And we'll even get to stop every few weeks in a village to train them on digging their own water wells and drill those with them. And the goal, there's several goals to the trip, but one of them is to stand up an additional 70 water well drilling teams that each team, based on what we've already seen in India and Uganda, can continue to install 100 wells per year. That's two per week, which means so if we go and walk across the continent and we stand up 70 new water well drilling teams, then that's another 7,000 wells per year that they can install. And those are jobs as well.
Exactly. So will you have a whole team like a choreographer, like a somebody on camera and a cinematographer and all of those great things?
That's the hope. The what we have right now is my executive assistant James is committed to go with me for the whole 2 year project.
Okay.
There's a driver in Uganda that's helped us with these projects before named Tony, and he's expressed strong interest in being our driver and support vehicle. And then properly funded, we would have another vehicle and another person from each country. So two more personnel that could drive ahead and get equipment and go ahead to the villages and build those relationships and start the setup and the training so that not everything's on our shoulders as we also walk across the continent.
Well,
So
yeah,
yeah,
because they need to warn people
absolutely.
that you're coming, right? They need to kind of let people know that these guys are coming.
That's right. That's right. And one of the philosophies of the journey is we're only going where we're wanted.
Yeah.
So uh, I met with African embassies in DC last week, and one of the people in the embassy, I think this is the Botswana embassy. She laughed at me when I expressed this, and she said lots of people. Actually, she said everybody's going to want you. Who would not want somebody that's bringing water?
Yeah.
And I said thank you, ma'am, but yet and still, it's their land,
Yes.
and while I do want to help, I want to make sure I'm going in a respectful and wise way.
Exactly. That's what I was just kind of thinking about the interpreters and the language barrier and making sure that everyone's, but then now you're coming through and they're, inviting you in. I mean, that's
Yeah.
one thing because I can't imagine what that would be like if you guys just kind of showed up. What
That may happen to some degree, and I'm gonna have to rely on my countenance and looking respectful and non-threatening. So
Oh, yeah,
most places I've been, it's been pretty easy to communicate with them or at least have an interpreter.
good.
So, but I'm ready for whatever comes.
Oh, it sounds so exciting. Do you have a cook on board?
A cook?
You need somebody
No,
prepared. If you're walking, man, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking ahead. Like there's so much
no,
plan.
but I am looking forward to the food. I'll say that.
Oh, great food, but you have to. It's nice to have somebody preparing it for you, so you can worry about
Yeah,
cooling off your feet.
that's true. No, we'll probably eat out a good amount and take snacks and eat on the go some. So
Yeah. Well, it sounds like I'm serious. I have asked a lot of people, what are they doing and what are they, what's the big event coming up or a book launch or something. You're the first person that I've talked to that says, no, I'm walking across Africa. It's like, okay. So I admire you for this, and I know you're inspired to do it. And it just so perfect. I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. So everybody,
thank you.
thank you thank you, Paul, for being here. Everyone, thank you for joining us here today on Living and Loving Each Day. He's definitely living and loving each day, and he's been led, and he's just an inspiration to speak with you, Paul. Thank you so much. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And you can find me at suejansen.ca because I'm up in Canada. And I'd love to chat with you and just, reach out to me there. So again, Paul, thank you so much. It's been an honor to meet you, and I'll be thinking about you for those
Thank
2
you.
years. Yeah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for being on my podcast today. I appreciate it. Okay, bye.
Absolutely. Thank you.